think we are rolling. So
Yeah, you
I'll
good.
start. Yep, I think I'll start by saying, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ball Oasis Show, episode 2 of regular season action. We're about 8, 9, 10 games into the regular season, about 2, 3 weeks. So we've been able to get a pretty good gauge of what teams and what players are going to look like. So I think we're ready to overreact a little bit, maybe, and
Yeah.
give some surprises and disappointments. So that's what we're going to do for the majority of this episode today. Um, and with what we've seen over the past week, I think that we would be remiss if we didn't start, unfortunately, with a disappointment. But especially after today losing their 5th straight game, 4th straight since the trade of James Harden, with him entering the lineup. The Los Angeles Clippers do not look good. Clippers don't look good, do they, Jacob?
Not at all. The system's not very system-like right now.
It's a failed system. Failed system, apparently. They lost the Memphis Grizzlies this afternoon, giving the Grizzlies just their 2nd win of the season. But yeah, the Clippers have not looked good over the past week and a half or so. Just struggling to find, I guess, the continuity. And I didn't think that'd be much of a problem. I thought that some of these guys have played with each other before. So I thought that it might get a little cliquish maybe on the team. But I thought that it would at least benefit, them in the short term. I didn't think they'd come out and struggle like they have, because they played Memphis today. Who did they play on?
Memphis,
They played the Mavericks on Friday.
New York,
That's a tough game apparently, because the Mavericks are 7-2.
New York,
They played the Knicks the first game. Who did they play
and
the second?
was it San Antonio?
I don't think that sounds right. Let me see.
I can
Or
check.
if you pull it up first. They're 3-6. They're 3-6 on the season.
It has been the Nets.
That's right. They lost to the Nets.
Without, I don't even know if Cam Thomas played.
So you would think in at least 3 of those games, they obviously have the better personnel on the floor. And probably in 4 of those games they do, really, in all of those games. But yeah, the Clippers have not been good, and maybe it's something that takes time. We don't have the exact stats pulled up, before and after the trade, but they still have. I've got stats pulled up here beside me once again. The 12th ranked offense and the 14th ranked defense on the season, but I'm sure those numbers are way down in the past week. They just don't look good. They don't look good, and I thought that usually after James Harden gets traded, there's the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Where he comes out in the first couple of games, he looks really good. He's re-energized or whatever. He's in a new situation, and he is happy to be there, thriving right off the bat. Hasn't happened the same way here. And I will say the Clipper bench has not been very good over the past few games as well. I know Norman Powell hasn't been very good. Bones Highland hasn't been given that electricity off the bench. And Mason Plumlee's going to miss significant time as their backup big. So they may be grasping for straws. I don't want to overact too much with this team, because they have way too much talent to say that they're in real, miss the playoff danger. But it doesn't look good right now.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Clippers, Jacob? What do you think? I want to hear what you think.
I know we both had them as our 8 seed coming into the year.
Right.
So obviously we weren't super high. They looked good the first few games.
They did.
But as for, you expect with those 4, it would click, like you said, click right off. But they all need the ball.
They do.
I want to say Westbrook will probably get moved to the bench. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Who should start in his place, do you think? Terrence Mann?
Yeah, probably Terrence Mann.
I can see it.
I think that's what it's got to come down to, because they all dominate the ball. Russ, really don't want him off ball that much. Same with Harden. He doesn't like being off ball. He likes having the ball in his hand, and even, we know how he is with catch and shoot threes. He'll dribble into a shot. I don't know, and this is even the defense. It's just
Yeah, that's
not
the
clicking.
thing. You got to think because Ty Lue, like I regard Ty Lue as like a top 5 coach in the league. Like he's a lot top 5 coach in the
Yeah,
league in my opinion. So if anybody can get those guys on the same page, in a short span of time, I thought it could be him. And
he
maybe it's just a weekend. Maybe we need to give it more time. But
right.
after seeing kind of what I saw today, I'm not very motivated to think that this team can get it all figured out in one game.
He said, I want to say he said give him 10 games, but it's been 4 and it's bad. Like you said today, I watched some of the game today, but they lost to Memphis, who's now 2-8,
Yeah.
and I know Memphis has their own problems they're dealing with, but the Clippers should not lose to Memphis.
No, not at
And
home.
I want to say Memphis was up big most of the game. Clippers brought it back, and then I don't know, like I don't know, because I know I said I did. This is the last year. I think we both agree it's the last year, unless they want to commit to PG and Kawhi again. But do you think if it's still bad around the deadline, because we know in the West every game counts, or I think every. Um, do you think they're going to move somebody? One of PG, Kawhi, Russ? I don't think James can be moved. He should be able to be moved January 1st. Or do you think they just kind of ride it out, figure it out?
See, it's hard. It's hard for me to believe that they would at this point because what would be the point of getting James Harden in the first place?
Yeah.
I think that even if they're a sub 500 team by that point, they still can look at what they have and say to themselves, "Okay, we've got the
Yep.
talent to kind
Yeah.
of come back and at least make up our way through the play-in." Kind of like how the Lakers did last year. Like the Lakers were 2-10 around this time last season, were able to work their way back up. I think that kind of gives teams who are in a similar boat, maybe like the Clippers could be this season, that they could, replicate that same success. A lot went right for the Lakers though at the end of last season. They're healthy. They started shooting the ball well. They were a top 5 defensive team for the past few months of the season, and they were just clicking. They got hot at the right time, and maybe the Clippers can replicate that. Maybe they can, and
Yeah.
I think that's what they would tell themselves. I think that's what they would tell themselves. I don't think they would be willing to blow it up in the season, especially trade wise, unless there was just a player who they believed fit them better than one of their guys. And if there was a guy to be moved, I think it would be Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
I don't think they would move on from Paul George. I think Kawhi Leonard is safe, from anything really.
Right.
I think the order it goes would be Russell Westbrook, Paul George, since they just traded for James Harden, and then Kawhi. Kawhi is safe. And obviously you've got these other players like Norman Powell and Terrence Mann, who's apparently untouchable too, Bones Highland, Zubac. These guys can also bring you players as well. But these are good role players. Most of the time, these guys are really good and really solid. So personnel wise, I think we were all skeptical of the fit to begin with. But now you're kind of handcuffed. Now you're kind of trapped. You
Yeah.
can't really do anything but ride it out. And that's what I think they have to do.
Because I got the standings. I'm 12th right now, behind Portland, and under them is San Antonio, Utah, Memphis. Now I know Memphis has 15 more games without Ja.
What do you getting at here?
Yeah, I don't know. I like you said, I doubt it happens. But if they're low in the play-in, or there's an injury, which we hope not to see, something might happen. But
It might have to.
Then again, nobody's going to trade for Harden. It'll be Russ.
And another thing is and then we can get off the Clippers altogether because I don't want to spend too much time talking about them. But this is a team of players who have a history, especially now with James Harden, of pointing fingers at other people. And I don't want to, what am I trying to say? I'm not trying to like insinuate anything about a specific player, but I'm just saying that is kind of like what's been in certain situations before. It could happen here. It could happen here where they are losing and they just turn on each other.
Yeah. I know Tyler.
Even Kawhi could. Even Kawhi could do it. And because I think if Kawhi were to leave, it would be him who's like saying, okay, I'm going to leave on my own accord. I don't think they would push him out. I think that the demise of the Clippers would come internally before it gets externally torn apart.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, and there's players there that can make it happen that way. But
for sure.
So it's just a wait and see game with them right now.
Yeah. Let's get to a more exciting, more positive note. Jacob, your 76ers are 8-1. And this isn't necessarily a surprise, I would say. We both, regard the Sixers pretty highly. But they've gotten off to a really good start. I know last episode we said Boston looks like the best team in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia beat Boston this past week, and they look really good. They look like the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. Talk about your Sixers for a minute and why they've been so successful early in this season.
Yeah, I say it's Philly and Boston, the top two for sure. Success-wise, I'll just have to say Tyrese Maxey. He's been a big part. He had a 50-ball night against Indiana. His playmaking leap, I'm sure we both kind of assumed he'd make a leap. I've been saying it for a while, but I don't think anybody knew his playmaking leap would be this drastic. I want to say we talked about it a few nights ago. He has, I want to say, like 60 assists and maybe 10 turnovers now because he had a few tonight. But the pick and roll with Joel, they have the most points or assisted points between the pick and roll in the league. And that's saying something when you have like Dame and Giannis together.
Right.
I'm sure we'll get to that. We might get to that later in the episode. But yeah, it's just mainly Tyrese and Joel. They kind of carrying Kelly Oubre. Hate to hear what happened to him last night. Had an accident.
So weird. So strange.
Yeah, so it's such a Philly thing. But I hate it for him. Minimum contract's been really good, but it's just they're clicking. Nick Nurse might be Coach of the Year favorite right now.
I would say so. I would say either him or Jason Kidd.
Yeah, so if not, he's up there. And I talked to you earlier about it. Joel and Tyrese Maxey are playing like the best duo in the NBA. You can say bias, but they're the only duo averaging 25, 5, and 5.
No, I agree.
They both look like all-stars, and Tyrese looks like a lock for all-star and the MIP trophy this year so far. But it just comes down to those two and Nick Nurse is why we're winning. And a lot of people hated on the Clippers trade, because the Rocco, Morris, Batum, but they've been great for us, especially Batum and Covington. So that's really all it comes down to. It's just no drama. Everybody's clicking on the same page.
Yeah.
And I will say, coaching, we were one of the slowest teams last year, and we're averaging the most fast break points this year. And it's a big difference.
Through 9 games, it looks really good over there. It looks really, really good. And when you can score, it says a lot when your team can score 13 bench points and put up 137 as a team. When your dynamic duo can score 87 combined points, the bench points don't matter that much. And that's what I think a lot of the Clippers trade. People kind of talking down on the Clippers trade with the players that Philly got back. The Philadelphia 76ers starting lineup should average around like 90 to 100 points a game by themselves.
It feels like it, yeah.
And whatever bench help they get, even if it's just like 15, 20 points a game off the bench, is only going to help them if they decide if one or two guys just have to show up off the bench on a nightly basis.
And
because their starting lineup is so elite offensively. They're a top 5 offensive and defensive team entering the night. They may not be a top 5 defensive team after the night.
maybe not.
After playing the Pacers, but they're a top 5 offensive team. And like you said, they're running. That's not something that they're, accustomed to doing over the past few seasons, but it suits them. It suits them pretty well, as we've seen here in the young season. I've liked what I've seen as a non-fan of them, so I'm sure that you're having a blast watching them so far.
Yeah, it's the most fun I've had watching them since I've been a fan. So, but yeah, everybody's on the floor. Even Joel Tobias gets the rebound and runs the floor, and that didn't happen much last year. So, but like you said, the Kelly Oubre thing, he was our bench scorer, and sucks, but they're making it work so far.
Yeah, they've got guys who can step up. They've got guys who can step up and play that role. They've got proven guys. You got one more thing to say, or?
I will say about the bench stuff. One of Maxey and Joel's always on the floor. So what happens when it normally is, Embiid will play the whole first, sit out most of the second, and that's when Maxey will get a lot of his points. I believe the last 2 games he's had 15 in the second quarter. And then the same thing second half. Embiid will play most of third. And there's been games which I think you saw, it might have happened in Portland. I don't remember. But there's games where Joel sits out the fourth quarter just because Maxey takes over the beginning of the fourth, and it just
the game's over at that point.
So that I really enjoy seeing that. But other than that, yeah, it's just good vibes right now.
Yeah, apparently. Good vibes also in Minnesota. There are good vibes in Minnesota right now. You said that there could be.
It's still weird. You had him higher in the standings than I did, but I regret it. But
that is still strange to me. But Minnesota is easily the best defensive team in the league right now with a 101 defensive rating, which is way lower than any other team.
Yeah,
they're clamping. Anthony Edwards has the best defensive rating as an individual player. Crazy for his development.
I thought it was Rudy a few nights ago.
It's Anthony Edwards as of today. So good things going on in Minnesota, and they've played some tough teams too. They've beat the Boston Celtics. They've beat the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. They played some tough opponents, and they've shown up. The Timberwolves have been impressive, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, like I said, I hate having them so low, but they're clicking, I guess. Rudy and Cat, I know Cat's had his struggles, but Ant, even the Boston game, that's some of the best two-way play we've seen this year. I know it's early, but even from Ant, some of the best two-way play. Guarded Tatum good and went down and hit a clutch shot, but they're rolling right now. Can't really say much about it.
Yeah, they are playing some really good basketball.
Did you have Jaden McDaniels in your DP for a while? You didn't?
The Timberwolves are fourth in rebounds. They're fourth in rebounding, which is obviously something with their two bigs they're going to be, pretty good at. They're a great defensive team. They hold teams to one possession, and they're one of those teams too that is kind of surprising, but they get out and run too a good little bit.
Yeah.
They're not, top of the line in pace or anything, but they're top 10 in fast break points as well. And in the half court, I thought half court offensively, they would look worse than they have so far. With Rudy and Cat on the floor together, obviously we saw in the 29-game sample size last season, it didn't look good. It didn't look very good. But they've been, like you said, Cat hasn't been great, but Anthony Edwards has. Mike Conley's been really good. Their bench has been solid so far. Naz Reid has been very good for them. Might only be a matter of time before Cat gets gone. Just saying.
Yeah, I want it to happen, kind of, because nothing against it, but I do want Naz Reid I want to see him starting. I don't know if he would, but
I think so.
I'd say. I guess it depends on who they get back for Cat. But now I'm thinking about if a trade does happen. We're thinking New York.
I've never thought New York. I don't think he's going to New York.
I've been saying Atlanta for a while, but I don't know.
Look, imagine Karl-Anthony Towns out there with Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, and Jalen Brunson.
I'd if I was Minnesota and I was on the phone with New York and if I heard Julius, I'd hang up. I wouldn't even entertain it any further.
Yeah. And the thing is, my gripe with that has always been, who would Minnesota want back from the Knicks? Unless it was like Quentin Grimes or like Josh Hart, but they're already the top defensive team. So maybe Emmanuel Quickley. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see New York doing that, so I don't know how it works.
They're not really good suitors for each other. I've always thought Atlanta sounded pretty good. OKC has even been a thought of mine. I don't know if OKC would pull the trigger on that though, because their guys are so young and they're still really kind of gauging their value. One that I mentioned to you is the Pelicans, which I don't know if the Pelicans would, be up to doing, but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Would Valanciunas still be there?
Yeah, I figure unless they just throw him in as salary filler.
Yeah. I don't know.
He wouldn't start.
Say he wouldn't start?
Yeah, he wouldn't start.
I don't see it. They'd have the worst spacing. Close to it.
Let's get on to another disappointing team, Jacob. Do you have a disappointing team that has kind of, not lived up to your expectations up to this point that you've been kind of down on?
Still early. There's a few. I'd either say the Lakers. I think I put Cleveland over the Lakers a little bit, in my opinion.
I was thinking about Cleveland too.
Because I think you had him as a 3 seed, right?
I did.
I think I had him as 4. Let me check. I had him as a 4 seed, but they're 4 and 5 right now. I know Jared Allen missed some time, but I don't have the stats pulled up on offense and defense. But
let's see. The Cleveland Cavaliers offensively have the 23rd ranked offense, so they're not doing well offensively. And you would think that they would have a good defense, but they're the 13th ranked defense after being a top 3 defense last season. Now, a lot of that is missing Jared Allen, I think.
Yeah.
And Evan Mobley hasn't been great in the young season.
Yeah.
But 23rd and 13th for a team like the Cavs, you would think that they would be better than that.
Yeah. I know Max Strus has been good for him.
Karis LeVert has been pretty good for him, too, off the bench.
Yeah. Offensively, I don't know. Jared Allen, defensively, I know why they'd keep him, but I know I've been saying it. But offensively, I don't know if he'd get moved or not.
My thing with them is, what happened to Darius Garland? Darius Garland was kind of in that conversation for a little bit with Tyrese Halliburton and Tyrese Maxey. He was revered above Tyrese Maxey, but he's in that same conversation with Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander even.
Top guards, yeah.
Those guys were running laps around him at this point. And part of it maybe he was injured. I think he did he have a surgery this offseason? I thought he might have had a surgery this offseason or something.
He might have. I've only watched a few Cleveland games, but let me see.
But he hasn't been very good at all.
I'm trying to pull the games up now. He's only played 5 games this year.
Yeah, I know he's missed some time. Darius Garland.
His points are down 4 points. Assists are down 1. Trying to see his shooting split.
I wouldn't imagine they're very good.
He's shooting
25% from 3 this season.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But field goal wise, he's down 3%, but he's taken 4 less attempts than last year.
I don't know with the Cavs because I still feel they're kind of like the Clippers. You have to feel good about them going forward just because of what they have, or at least you feel like they'll kind of regress to the mean or progress to the mean.
Yeah.
And they'll, start stacking some wins at some point. But Darius Garland is like he's kind of the X
He,
factor of this team. I feel like.
yeah, we saw when he struggled in the playoffs against New York what happened.
Yeah.
He was a big part of them being so good last year.
I'm just thinking about playmaking wise too.
Yeah.
Let me look at their assists because the Cavs were a team that shared the ball really well last season. They're 23rd in assists this season. Let's look at assist to turnover ratio. Assist to turnover ratio. The Cavs are 17th. They are not doing well in either of those categories.
And
Rebounding wise, they're notorious for being a good rebounding team. They're 14th in rebounding, which is down from last season. They're down in basically every stat from last season.
Yeah. In the 5 games he's played, he's had almost the same amount of turnovers as assists.
They're also bottom 5 in 3-point shooting, by the way, which you wouldn't expect.
No, not with Donovan Mitchell, Darius,
Strus.
I know Niang's been really bad this year.
They're shooting 32% as a team from 3 so far this season. Not good.
I mean, it could just be a cold stretch. I know they played good against Golden State the other night.
They have played some tougher teams, I will say. And they're 4-5. It's not like they're like 2-7 or anything. They're 4-5. They're 1 game under 500. They beat the Warriors twice.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like we said, it's still early. There's plenty of time for things to change, but I don't know.
They're not off to a good start. I'm not really afraid. I'm not really afraid for them though.
I think I want to say I have the confidence that they can still finish top 4, top 5. Because, well, I don't know, because there's a few teams that have been playing really well that we didn't think would be this high.
I'd say the Pacers look a lot better than them right now.
Pacers look really good. Atlanta's been pretty good.
Obviously, the Pacers will probably be a bottom 10 defensive team at least, but they're going to be a top 5 offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta's been pretty solid.
Toronto, surprisingly, well, they're the same record, but
I'm not believing in Toronto. I can't do it.
I think Brooklyn will fall.
I like what I've seen from Brooklyn so far. Brooklyn's been a solid team. They've missed some guys too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just takes time.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. What about? You got something to say?
No, I was gonna go to the next team, next player team.
Who you got?
Cam Thomas. Speaking of Brooklyn, I'm not sure if he was one of your guys, but we were a joke. It was a joke. He texted me one day saying he'd lead the league in scoring as a joke. It didn't seem like a joke for a while.
No, it didn't.
I know he's hurt right now, but let me see.
The thing about Cam Thomas too is I did not expect him to come out here shooting 30 shots a game. Didn't expect that.
I don't want to say I'm disappointed in Mikal Bridges, but Cam Thomas has stole the show with him.
Yeah, he has. He's been pretty efficient too. Is the thing.
His points have been up 16 points. Yeah, efficient. Like it's not many assists, but his points are up plus 16. Let me see.
He's finally 27 points on 48% from the floor, 32 from 3.
20 shots a game.
20 shots.
20 shots a game versus 8 last year.
That's got to be more than that's. Is there a way that you can like compare that to other people
on Brooklyn?
Or like in the league, because I'm thinking of like superstars who that's got to be more. It's got to be more than like. I imagine that's more than Kevin Durant. I imagine that's more than maybe like Damian Lillard. That might be more than Jason Tatum.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
If you can, it's okay, because 20 shots a game is probably it's got to be like top 10 or top 20 in the league for a guy to get off 20 shots a game. That's a lot of shots for Cam Thomas, bro. And his minutes have like continually gone up as he's played throughout the season.
I know he came off the bench one game, but he's been starting.
Yeah, it's like first game or two he came off the bench. I didn't know this. Cam Thomas was born in Japan. I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah. Learn something new every day.
Okay, so per game, I'm trying to get it where it does it in order.
Sometimes when you try to pull up those stats too, it pulls up. Well, maybe not like counting stats, but rate stats. It pulls up guys who play like 2 minutes. I hate when it does that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not letting me. But okay, that's more than Tatum.
Oh, I have it pulled
More
up.
than Giannis.
Yeah.
Jokic.
Devin Booker.
I don't.
Curry. More than Curry.
Curry.
More than LaMelo Ball.
Jaylen Brown.
LeBron, more than Kawhi. More than Paul George. More than Damian Lillard. More than Tyrese Halliburton. Cam Thomas is chucking, bro. Hey.
It's efficient.
It's not more than Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is chucking too.
He's Memphis offense right now. Him and Jaren are Memphis offense.
Without the stats pulled up, who averages the most shots per game?
Yeah, I just took the stats off. It's got to be Bane, I'm assuming.
Bane is number 4. Can you name the 3 guys above him? They're all 2 of them are Western Conference guards. One's an Eastern Conference guard. One of these guys has also only played 3 games, so he might kind of be exempt.
He's only played 3 games.
Yeah.
It's not Luka.
All of these guys are averaging over 29 points a game.
SGA.
No, Shea's number 5, tied with Joel Embiid.
Guards in the West, one in the East.
Yeah, the top guy is someone that you wouldn't think of taking a whole lot of shots, really? But he's taken a lot of shots so far this season. All these guys are under the age of 28 as well, so they're younger players. Did you say Luka yet?
Yeah, I'll say it's not Luka, is it?
Luka's number 3. Luka's number 3, but he's not number 1.
Is it Shaden?
No, Shaden's not getting that many shots. He might get like 15, maybe. The numbers on these guys' field goal attempts is 22 and 23 as 1 and 2.
Are they Anthony Edwards? No,
Anthony Edwards is number 8.
Are they at top of the conference or bottom or middle?
Like team standings wise?
Yeah.
Both of these guys are kind of in the middle of their conference.
I don't know. Just go ahead and say it. I don't want to be here too long.
I would say both of these guys were all NBA last season. If you can't get it off that, then I'll just say it.
I said Curry, didn't I? Yeah, I don't know.
It's not Curry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 2 is Donovan Mitchell at 22 shots a game. And number 1 is De'Aaron Fox at 23 shots a game.
Okay, because he's only played. He's
only played 3 games, but he's averaging over 23 shots a game up to this point. So, just a little trivia for you there. Since we're at it, what about 3-point attempts? Can you name me the top 3 3-point attempt guys so far this season? All these guys are averaging 10 3-point attempts a game or more.
I want to say Jordan Poole.
It is not. Jordan Poole is not in the top 3.
Okay. I'm assuming they're all guards.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is in the top 5. That's pretty crazy.
Are they in the West?
All three of these guys are in the Western Conference.
Curry.
Curry's number 1.
Desmond Bane.
Desmond Bane is number 3.
I'm just gonna throw him out. Kevin Huerter.
No, not Kevin Huerter.
Okay. Bane.
You said this guy's name a minute ago for just shots in general.
Luka.
It's Luka. It is Luka. Those are the chuckers so far this season. But yeah, back to Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas has been putting up shots. He's really the only guy contending with Tyrese Maxey at this point for MIP, in my opinion, so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully he can come back soon. I miss seeing the Cam Thomas box scores.
I want to say it was like 3 weeks. So
yeah, he should be back before long. Let's talk about the Rockets. Let's talk about the Houston Rockets because they're 5-3. They've won 5 games in a row, and they currently, I believe, have a top 10 offense and defense. Yeah, they have the 10th ranked offense and the 7th ranked defense.
Yeah, it was 5 a few days ago.
Yeah, it might have fallen over the past game or 2.
They're currently up 10 on the Nuggets with 4 minutes.
Wow, how about that? They're also a top 5 3-point shooting team, which I would not have expected with this Rockets team. And a lot of it is just by committee. Yeah. All of their guys have been pretty solid outside of maybe like Jalen Green shooting the ball and Jabari Smith maybe hasn't been super great, but Dylan Brooks has been really good. Fred VanVleet has been pretty good. Sengun has been kind of the distributor on that offense up to this point. Their bench guys have been pretty good. The Rockets have been pretty good in this young season.
I told you that play-in, but early.
It is early. It is very early.
I've talked to the only Rockets fan I know, and when they play through Sengun, that's when they're at their best. I believe I've said it on here, but they play really good when they play through him.
I would agree with that. They play really well through Sengun. He is currently, for a big man, I'm trying to look up assists. I think he's 3rd in assists for a big man, only behind Jokic and Sabonis.
Okay.
Well, he's 4th. He's behind Draymond. No, he's 5th. Wow. I didn't realize Draymond Green and Ben Simmons were up here like that too. But it goes Jokic, Sabonis, Ben Simmons, Draymond, and Sengun in assists. And Sengun averages over 6 assists a game. Really good for a second-year big. Yeah. Or is he a third-year big at this point? I think he's in his 3rd year, actually.
Yeah.
Still, a 21-year-old big able to facilitate like that. Really, really impressive stuff. Ime's got those guys playing defense, too. He's got those guys playing defense. They've got a lot of kind of doggish players over there. But last season, they were bottom 5 in defense.
Yeah.
They were really struggling with the guys they had. And the culture is being established. The culture is being established over there to put it in a cliche way.
I know
they're a fun team.
I know in the offseason when they gave Dylan Brooks $80 million and Fred VanVleet $147. I don't know, but we kind of like overpaid, but it's been worth it. They've set a culture. I think Fred said a few days ago that whatever stuff is going on, he's making sure it's not happening anymore. He's making sure he gets everybody right. So they look good so far.
They do. They really, really do.
It seems like Dylan Brooks just, I don't know, because I want to say he was, top 5, top 7 in 3-point percentage?
Yeah,
for a while.
Let me look up to see where things kind of stand. Dylan Brooks, out of all qualified players, is still 1st in 3-point shooting. He's shooting 56% from 3.
He just needed to change his scenery, I guess. But
apparently.
So.
Apparently.
The reason. Yeah.
Actually, no. Actually, he's 2nd. Somebody passed him. Among all qualified players, Jalen Smith from the Indiana Pacers is first now. He doesn't take very many. I think he's only taken 13 on the season, but he is 9 for 13, giving him 67%.
You should just start pulling it.
Yeah. Talking about the Pacers too, Jacob. I'm a quiz you really quick. Can you name the top 3 offensive teams in basketball right now?
Indiana.
Indiana's number 1.
Philadelphia.
This is coming into the night. They might have rose as of tonight, but coming into the night, the Sixers were 5th.
Okay. Indiana, Boston.
Boston's number 3.
So there's somebody. You said top 3.
There's somebody in between them at number 2.
Who's put up points? Dallas.
Dallas is number 2. The Dallas Mavericks under Jason Kidd are number 2. Luka Doncic leading the league in scoring. 6th man of the year up to this point. I would probably give it to Tim Hardaway Jr. He's averaging 18, 19 points a game, putting up 9 threes a game, which puts him at top 5 in the league in 3-point attempts. He's been the guy off that Dallas bench, kind of reviving his career.
I'll admit I've been wrong so far about Dallas.
And I'll admit I've been wrong about Minnesota, so we can settle our differences, I guess. Top 3 defensive teams. Who you got?
Defense? Denver.
Not Denver. Denver's number 6.
Top 3.
I didn't realize they were that high.
I know.
I've already mentioned one of the top 3, and I've mentioned how good their defense has been.
Houston.
No, Houston's number 7.
Okay. I know Boston, Houston, and Philly were top 5 for a while. That's why I'm thinking about those. Philly's
Boston's number 3.
3. Okay.
Boston's number 3.
Number
2 and number 1 are still yet to be dated.
Were they good teams, like top of the conference?
One of them is. One is kind of a middle team.
Okay.
One West, one East.
You said defense, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Minnesota's
Minnesota, Boston, and
number 2. Who's number 2?
Then the East.
Eastern Conference team.
I'm trying to think who's in the middle of the East. Can't be Miami.
It's not the Miami Heat.
Okay.
This team has played a lot of low-scoring games.
A lot of what games?
Low-scoring games.
It's not Milwaukee. No, it's not Milwaukee. No.
They played some pretty good teams so far.
Atlanta?
It's not the Atlanta Hawks.
Orlando Magic.
It's not Orlando. Orlando's number 4, so they're right outside.
I don't know this.
It's the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are number 2. Bottom 3 offensive teams.
Bottom 3?
Bottom 3 offensive teams. These teams have nothing going for them offensively. Portland is last. Portland Trailblazers are last. Who else?
We agree that that's because Anthony Simons is hurt.
Right. If he was there, we'd be top 10.
Bad offense. Utah.
Not Utah. Utah is middle of the pack. 2 Western Conference teams. Bad offense.
I know Memphis is down there.
Memphis is second to last. And there's one other team here that you would kind of be surprised.
Phoenix.
Not Phoenix. Phoenix is also middle of the pack.
Lakers.
Not the Lakers. They're 24th, so they're pretty low. But
it's just the Kings because I know De'Aaron's been out.
It's not the Kings. The Kings are 21, which is very low for them too, but they're not bottom 3.
You can go ahead and say it.
It's the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans have really struggled in the half court. If they didn't have rookie Jordan Hawkins shooting the ball the way that he has, they might be struggling right now. 3-point shooting wise, They are, let me see, 3-point shooting wise, they are 23rd in 3-point shooting. I'm pretty sure they don't have very many assists either. Yeah, they're second to last in assists. They're last in assist to turnover ratio.
I want to say one game they only had like 4 total assists. I might be wrong.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Bottom 3 defensive teams.
Indiana.
Coming into the night, probably after tonight they're bottom 3, but coming into the night they were the 5th from last. They were 26th.
I thought that 55-point loss from Boston kind of threw them way under.
Yeah, they're still pretty low, but not quite that low.
Milwaukee's not that bad.
Milwaukee's 25th, 1 spot above Indiana.
Bad offense.
Bad defense.
Defense, I mean. San Antonio? No. Is it San Antonio?
Nope. San Antonio is 2nd from last.
Okay.
They've not been very good defensively.
That's kind of surprising for them.
Yeah, they've given up a lot of points lately.
San Antonio, Charlotte.
Charlotte is last. At 121. They have given up a lot of points lately too. They've played the Wizards in their last 2 games, and they've given up a lot of points to the Wizards.
Washington.
Washington is 4th from last, so they barely missed it. It's a Western Conference team that's the last team.
I said Utah, didn't I? No.
It's Utah. Utah is 3rd from last. Yeah. That's the way things are kind of shaking out so far. It looks like it might. I would bet to say that a lot of those teams stay at the bottom, and the teams at the top will probably stay at the top.
Yeah.
That's my best guess. Let me look at a few other tidbit stats. Jacob, who leads the league in steals?
OG, no, that's deflections. Steals. So it's somebody I wouldn't expect.
You probably expect this player. Western Conference player, All-Star level player.
Guard.
Technically, yes. Kind of a guard-forward combo mix.
And steals. I don't know.
Plays for an LA team.
Oh, Paul George.
Paul George. Last one I'll give you. Who leads the league in field goal percentage?
Mark Williams.
He is 2nd.
Dang it. Who else is like? Is there a minimum field goal requirement?
I'm going off of you shoot less than 5 field goals a game, you don't qualify.
Derek Lively.
Derek Lively's now 3rd. You probably are not going to get this one either. I don't know why I did it. It's Nick Richards, the backup for Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte Biggs shooting really well off the rim. Let's see. You have any other surprises and disappointments player-wise?
I've never been high on. I've mentioned McHale a little bit. This ain't him, but I know just the scoring-wise off last year in Brooklyn, which teams know now. But outside of him, there's 2 players that supposedly same level, but Jordan Poole and Austin Reeves.
Okay.
Jordan Poole, I've never been big on, but we thought that he would be scoring a lot of points. He's averaging 17 points and just chucking shots. I don't know if you've watched much of Washington, but it's just him and Kuzma just taking turns, just throwing the ball up.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves, I don't know much. I know they brought him off the bench and he played pretty good the other night. Other than that, I think he's just been kind of struggling a little bit.
Yeah, let's see. Austin Reeves so far this season.
I want to say it's
13 points a game, 43% from the field, 30 from three. So, yeah, he has been great.
other than that, I don't think I got anybody other than that. I'm trying to come off the top. Ben Simmons has been all right when he's played.
Ben Simmons has been decent. Yeah, he's
not all-star level, but rebounding and assist wise.
I would say when he's been on the floor, he's been the best rebounder for the Brooklyn Nets. And he's also been the best passer. So that's got to mean something.
Yeah. Other than that, okay. We don't have to go much into it. We've talked about it. The Killian Hayes thing.
I was wondering if you would bring it up.
The Killian Hayes thing. Jaden Ivey should be starting over him. This isn't where I was going, but I'm adding on to it. Jaden Ivey should be starting over him. Monty Williams is trying to establish defense. And sure, Killian's a better defender than Jaden Ivey, but Killian should not start at any time. I don't care.
Killian Hayes played really good against the Sixers the other night.
Okay, yeah. He cooked us at first. But at no point should he be started. And I sent you something on Instagram a while back. You saw it was naming pick and roll duos that have ran more pick and roll than Giannis and Dame. Killian Hayes and was it Jaren?
It was either Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, that was the first name, and you said, all right, I don't have to read anymore. So it's kind of hand in hand with the Bucks, Detroit, with that, but the Bucks, which they've struggled, yeah, they have to run the pick and roll. I know Dame's been out the last 2 games, and they've lost two or three in a row.
Yeah. They lost to Indiana and they lost to Orlando.
Giannis has been playing really good, but he has no help when Dame's not there. Chris Middleton
hasn't looked good either.
I don't know if he's on minute restriction still, but he hasn't looked too great. Brook Lopez, defense leads there, but offensively, I don't think it's not as good as last season.
Yeah.
But
Chris Middleton is averaging. I mean, he's only averaging 19 minutes a game, but he's only averaging 11 points a game.
Yeah, it wasn't many points. I don't know. Their offense, obviously, the pick and roll has to come, but I don't know. Their defense isn't great either, which we knew that with losing Drew Holiday, but it's been.
I didn't think it'd be this bad.
Yeah, like Dame, we know Dame isn't the worst defender. I know he's missed, but Malik Beasley was supposed to be their perimeter guy. And if you watch the Pacers game, you know what I'm talking about. The Tyrese Halliburton, Malik Beasley's controller died. He just
that was so crazy.
He just ran by him. Outside of Giannis and Brook, even Jay Crowder, who they spent 5 second-round picks on last year, has not been the best defensively. And their young guys, I mean, I don't really see it coming from them either.
Yeah. My biggest gripe with them is that they're 29th in rebounding. 29th in rebounding for them is crazy.
That shouldn't be.
They were top 3 last year.
You might have watched more than me, but is Brook in the perimeter a lot or out at the perimeter a lot?
It doesn't feel like he's spacing more than he usually is, and I haven't watched a whole lot of the Bucks, especially with Dame off the floor. But I can't really tell that much of a difference.
Because Joel has a problem. Joel can rebound, but when he's at the perimeter, his rebounds just drop. So I don't know if that's happening with Brook, but their rebound should not be that bad.
The thing is, they're 5-4, so they're over 500. But their stats are not good.
Yeah, and even that first game against Philly came down to the wire, so they could be 4-5. But still, I mean, we know it's going to take time, and I'm not saying they're going to be bad or anything. I assume we still have them top 3.
Yeah.
Unless something bad or it just doesn't work. But
They have an easy stretch of games coming up. They play Chicago, Toronto, Charlotte, Dallas, and Washington. So
see, Toronto's already beat them by 20 once already.
yeah, that's true.
What are your? I don't you. I don't even haven't watched much, but Adrian Griffin, is that kind of? Did they kind of rush the Budenholzer firing, or it was just kind of time?
I don't know if it's that as much as like their offensive struggles, especially with Dame. The whole Adrian Griffin Terry Stotts thing still kind of rubs me the wrong way. How that was just kind of something that just kind of happened out of nowhere and it was just over at an instant.
I agree. I forgot about that. They offensively they would probably be better.
They're 28th in assists.
See, even with Dame, it should not. Dame and Giannis, it shouldn't be that low.
Right.
And I get it as a new offensive system, and defensively at first speaking about Houston, they just beat Denver. But
wow, shout out to
Houston Street.
Houston, man.
I don't know. I know last year Brook played a lot of drop coverage. He didn't much so far, but they've added it more into it.
I think the difference whenever we talk about the Bucks as opposed to like the Clippers or the Cavs and talk about like not being worried about them, I don't think we're seriously considering the Clippers or the Cavs as like a title contending team, wouldn't you say? The Bucks, I consider as a title contending team.
Yeah, so I did the Clippers.
So I'm more worried for the Bucks than I am for the Cavs or the Clippers, honestly.
So you're more worried for the Bucks?
I'm more worried for the Bucks, just because I know their aspirations.
Okay, let's kind of
how realistic they are.
Let's fast forward. We both had Milwaukee in the playoffs. Like if they faced Boston, we both had them beating Boston. I believe. Yeah. We're more confident in them. I know Boston's look good. They've also had their struggles, or not struggles, but 2 guys on, 2 guys off, whatever. I don't know if I still have Milwaukee, even against Philly.
9 games in?
What do you mean?
Well, you're saying that 9 games
no, I'm just saying, like, if we fast forward just the way they're playing right now.
Okay.
Like, if they're going to get better. We both know. Yep. But the way their defense has looked, Boston's going to put up points on them. Even Philly with the way Tyrese has been playing, and we saw that the first game. They have to have a perimeter defender. Like I said, Dame's not the worst defender, but it might just be we're used to Drew being there. Which I don't know. Like you said, you're more worried about them.
I think the biggest thing with the Bucks too is last year they were blowing teams out. They haven't won a game this season. I'm looking at it right now. They haven't won a game by more than 5 points this season. So every game they've played has been close. And
I know Dame's went off in a few games to kind of put it away.
Against their losses have been blowouts. They've lost blowouts.
Right. Even against Detroit the other night, Giannis got ejected and Detroit came back. Dame put it away.
Yeah, the Celtics. The Celtics are still blowing teams out whenever they win.
That's like even Philly blowing teams out when they win. Boston, Denver when they win.
That's just the characteristic of good teams in general. They put teams away.
Yeah, they don't play down competition.
And I believe the Bucks will get to that point.
Yeah,
you gotta think they will, but I feel like they're gonna be working from behind. Okay. And that's not a good place to be all the time.
Since you bring that up, every game matters in the West. In the East, technically, I don't say that as much, but it can. So, okay, off of last year, Philadelphia last year started 12-12, and still ended the 3 seed. They went like on a 20 win single digit loss stretch, whatever. Like I said, they're going to get it together. But if they are playing from behind, they could get a bad matchup first round.
I'm just imagining like the Bucks getting matched up even against a team like the Knicks. I don't like that matchup for the Bucks. I would pick the Bucks to win, but I don't like that matchup.
They've been bad, and I know you had a take, which I still don't know if they'll be that low, but I don't even know if they want to see Miami again. right now.
Miami's looked better recently.
Yeah, they have. Even okay, I don't know about Cleveland yet.
I can't say Cleveland yet. I can't say Cleveland.
I doubt they'll be low enough to play. Realistically, I don't even see them being out the top 4. I mean, out of the top 3.
You wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think. I know there's bigger surprises could happen, but Indiana, we'll see if they can kind of keep it how it is. Outside of Indiana so far, do you trust Atlanta to stay up that high? Maybe New York?
I do. I do.
Orlando, I'm sure is going to fall. Hate to say it, but they're going to fall.
Yeah, they'll be a play-in team, I think.
Like I said, the standings are real early, but I mean, just kind of based on what we see now. Like we're basing it off of 8, 9 games. I don't know. I'll take that back about what I said about every game. I think every game matters because every team needs to match up well against somebody else. That makes sense. But I guess it's not going to be one overwhelming matchup, I don't think.
Yeah. I'm not – I say I'm worried for the Bucks just as a championship contender.
Yeah, I get your worry.
Regular season-wise, I'm not worried for the Bucks.
Yeah.
They'll turn things around. They'll win games. They'll string off a streak of wins, and they'll look better than they do right now.
That's another thing. We saw that with Joe Mazzulla last year, the first-year head coach, like Adrian Griffin. There's going to be mistakes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially if you see a Spo, a Nick Nurse now.
That's where I worry. That's where I worry because as stagnant as Coach Bud's offense could get in the half court, as bad as it looked, and as many mistakes that he did make in the playoffs sometimes, I don't think he was a terrible coach. And I just don't know about Adrian Griffin. I don't know.
But I honestly, right now, I know they beat Philly and everything, but in a playoff series, Nurse, Spo, maybe even Quinn Snyder could. I honestly don't want to throw Tibbs in there. They could run laps around Adrian Griffin right now.
He's young. He's young in his head career.
Talent-wise, of course, we wouldn't say so, but just off of coaching, maybe. So. Yeah, like you said, regular season they're fine, but we'll have to see how it is playoff time.
Yeah, that's not what we're worried about with the Bucks. When it really gets down into it.
Because I mean, like even with certain teams like Philly, we know what they are in the playoffs. It's different coach, but we'll see.
And it's more on the defensive end too. Whenever it really gets down to it, that kind of scares defense and rebounding. Offensively, I think they'll be a much improved half-court offensive team when it comes down to it because they have Damian Lillard. And Damian Lillard is the best half-court offensive player in the league minus Steph Curry. The numbers as of last season, the numbers prove that. So
I agree. Yeah, defensively because they don't have anybody they can actually lock up on the perimeter. Maybe Giannis, but I'm sure you'd rather have him kind of roaming.
They'll need Giannis to be a paint help defender. They'll need him to be that.
Because they don't have anybody that can do JV or Tatum. I don't know.
It's only November 12th. It's only November 12th.
I don't want to assume they're going to trade somebody because they don't have many assets left, but
I don't think this is the final version of their roster, but I don't think there are any big moves they can make.
Yeah, it's already been reported that teams are watching Chicago. Somebody's going to offer a lot for Caruso.
He'd be a good pickup for anybody.
They're going to offer a lot. I hope Philadelphia goes after him more than Levine. But like you said, it's not the final roster. They're still figuring stuff out. Regular season, they're fine, but the playoffs, we'll worry about that when we get there.
Yeah. Other than that, I think that about wraps up kind of the week that we've seen. Shout out to the Pacers too. Pacers have been really good. I know we didn't touch on them a whole lot. they look like one of the best offensive teams. I know they got beat tonight, but Tyrese and Tyrese looking like the best two guards in the Eastern Conference right now.
What are your thoughts on these tournament real quick? I don't know if we've mentioned it a whole lot.
I think it's been cool. I think the level of competition has been cool for the tournament. The games have been pretty close. They've been closer than they normally would. The courts, I'm not necessarily a fan of the courts, but the on-floor product has been good. I've enjoyed to watch it.
They seem more competitive.
They do.
I think every tournament game has been close. I believe.
Yeah, and it may not be like what they're playing for is actually driving them. It's just kind of the idea behind it that this game means more than a normal game would.
Yeah, I know the fans would like it, and I do want to say that I've heard or I've saw that some players, especially for the end of the bench guys, they want to get them that 500,000.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So I understand. I like it so far. Like you said, there's certain courts that you can't watch, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's been a good addition so far, and I'm excited to see what it looks like in a few weeks whenever the whole Vegas thing actually happens.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, how that works.
Yeah, I'm still so, confused and out of loop on that.
I get the idea of it. It's the group play, and the wild card team, and then it's like a bracket style tournament in Vegas. So I don't know how that kind of counts as like regular season games played. I know the championship game adds 83 games, or is the 83rd game for the two teams instead of the 82.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yep. Thank you all for tuning in as always. Jacob, you got a game of the week, and I'll give my homework team. You want to keep this going?
The game of the week I said last time was okay.
The Hornets have been entertaining. I gave the Hornets as a team. They've been pretty entertaining. So I don't think that was a terrible one.
Celtics 76ers play again. That was a pretty good game last week.
Yeah, the rematch.
I might have to say that one. Unless we get tomorrow we get Knicks Celtics.
That wouldn't be a bad one either. My team.
They're normally pretty good against each other.
I think I'm going to give the Timberwolves as my team. The Timberwolves are good. I don't want to curse them. I don't want to curse the Timberwolves. I don't want to curse them. But they've been one of the most fun teams to watch up to this point. So tune into the T-Wolves if you can. But if that's all for me. You got anything else before we close, Jacob?
That's it.
That's it. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Yep.